Alright guys, so these are basically the entire kit to be able to swap the C009 into the SC300. And also, while I'm doing it, I'm going to tell you guys the benefits of going this company. So let's get into it. We're gonna go ahead and unbox this one first because, well, it looks like this thing got crushed, so I want to make sure that everything inside the box is okay. So in this box we actually have the shift kit. I went with the full Autosports Engineering kit because they are the most cost effective for their system, and also the quality of it, if you guys can see, is very top notch. They actually, if you guys have seen their videos on just going over and explaining this whole shifter relocation, which will directly seat on the top of the transmission, and this for me was like the most important part of this whole kit. When I got the transmission, it didn't have a shifter, so I couldn't go first, second, third, fourth, fifth. So now that I have this, I can actually go through every single gear and make sure everything works. And then what this does, this rod right here is going to be able to dictate where your throw is. There's a little set pin right there. You can drop this down in, you can set it to wherever you need it to. So there's a top one and the bottom one. The quality of this is just amazing. You're not gonna really see it, unfortunately, on like once the transmission is in because the shift boot, but it looks absolutely awesome. And then right here there is a plate right here. That's the reverse lockout plate, so I'm super excited to use this. Also, one last thing, this pivot cup we're probably going to be replacing for the copper one 14 or S13s have, because then this one wears out, not quickly, but it is a wear item, and then the copper one is not a wear item. The build quality is exceptional. You have the Autosports Engineering mark right there, which I think is awesome. You're not going to be able to see this piece because the shift boot, but it is just, the build quality is awesome. It's very light actually, which is going to be awesome, and especially when you put this onto the transmission, I feel like it's going to just change the whole feel of it. Once we get it installed, we're going to go ahead and install the reverse lockout plate, which is in this baggie. So but he explained that he stopped installing them because each transmission has a different feel for reverse, and some people weren't even able to get into it because it was already installed. The point of taking this off was so that you installed it and you got that feel for it, because what happens is a lot of times when it's installed from the warehouse, all of these components are going to be on Autosports Engineering's website, which I will put in the description. So thank you, huge shout out to Autosports Engineering and Tony. Thank you so much. This is part of the shifter actually. This is where the cup on the shifter is going to be able to sit in this here, and then it's going to connect to the linkage for the shifter linkage right there. And then you do have your spacers right here, and then you have your bolts that go to the top mounts. This is going to be the whole thing. Thank you for the Skittles, very much appreciate it. And then Autosports Engineering. Oh, and oh my god. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to wear this out for sure. Oh, fits like a glove. And it matches the hat, so that's actually awesome. Alright, so going back into this. So we do have this thing is beautiful. So this flywheel is absolute unit, 25 pounds, jeez, okay. And then the most important thing, guys, is this. So this right here, the centerpiece, is gonna be the pilot bearing. This is gonna be the spline that goes into the engine, and look at that. Look at that, guys. So this is, it's a needle bearing sleeve. It's going to let the input shaft slip right into the needle bearings, which is going to be what you need, so you actually don't have to cut that off. So that is what this is for. So I'm really excited that I'm going to be able to run this, because then I don't have to shorten the shaft at all.
It's only a short way. Is that a short joke?
And it will fit right over, so that's going to be vital to this swap. I can't wait to install this thing. And then you have your splines for your starter. So this is going to be the flywheel with that needle bearing center, which is going to be absolutely game changing for this swap. This is going to be, it's going to be a replaceable friction disc right here. So you'll be able to replace it with friction plate, I believe. This is going to be for the pressure plate bolts for the clutch, and then this is going to be for the bolts to the flywheel. So that's what these are for. So these are the two ARP kits you get in the package. So I'm really excited, because ARP is the only way to go when it comes to fastening down any drivetrain components. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we put these on with the proper torque specs. And this is the bread and butter, guys. So this is your adapter plate for the C009 to the JZ. So the way this works, if anyone is curious, this back plate right here is going to be connected to the front main seal. So the front main seal gasket goes on this side, and then so this connects. Transmission goes here, engine goes that way, and then this is for your transmission bell housing to go as well. So the reason why it has this right here, this hole, is because this is where the slave cylinder connects, and the only slave cylinder that you're able to use with this swap is from a Camaro, because it is a hydraulic slave, so it's an internal hydraulic slave. So it sits right here, and then these two lines go out to your master. Bell housing 40 pounds, plate 30 pounds. So actually, it gives you the torque specs. That is so cool. Thank you for doing that. That is actually something that I'm sure a lot of people don't notice. But this has the bell housing 40 pounds, and then the plate is 30 pounds. So it actually gives you the torque specs. So that's very, very cool that he includes that. So I know probably a lot of people won't notice that, but that's the little details. It's all in the little details. So the flywheel is 55 pounds, and then the pressure plate is 22 pounds. So he already gives you the torque specs because he already includes that. So that is so sick. Very, very small detail, but definitely something that is very well thought out. And this is all of the hardware that goes to the pressure plate and the bell housing. So this right here, if you guys don't know, is called a Weibo. This thing's name has definitely messed me up way too many times than I like to admit. But so what this does is for any conversion that you have to go to one-piece driveshaft, which is what we're doing, this is vital, because you cannot have a one-piece driveshaft going to a rubber Weibo. It just doesn't work. I've talked to a driveshaft shop that I'm going to be getting my driveshaft through. They've told me it's not only unsafe, but it doesn't give a solid hold, so the vibrations, they don't get bad, but it's just not something you can do. But this is gonna help us accomplish getting a one-piece driveshaft from the end of our C009 to our rear differential. And we're actually going to be running a SC400 rear diff in the rear, because that's going to give us the gear ratio we want. So that is going to be a vital piece. So we have two more things left. I'm going to go over this. I also have a baggie, but I'm going to go over this first. It's going to be your crossmember for the SC300 for the C009 swap. So very, very light. This thing is extremely light. I can hold it in one hand. I'm not trying to drop this, but this thing is extremely light. I believe it goes up this way, right here. So on this side, so on both sides, on both holes, it actually has a little bit of space so that you can kind of move it to where you want it to be, and then put the transmission mount right here. So I'm gonna have to figure out how all that goes. Before we end this unboxing, I'm going to talk about this unit right here. So this is extremely important for your T56 slave. So what this does is a adapter. So what you can do is you can actually go ahead and get the hydraulic lines from Autosports Engineering themselves, and it will come with this fitting with a hydraulic line directly to your whatever master cylinder you're running. We're actually going to be running the excessive clutch pedal, so I needed to make sure that this could go to a hydraulic line that could go to, I believe it's a Toyota Celica clutch master that we're running. So this right here is vital because this is going to be able to make it so that this point right here goes into the slave, and I actually can show you the slave right now. Alright guys, so I came up with how this works. It took me a while to figure out, but I was trying to figure out for the longest time how to get this off and put the adapter on, and I couldn't figure out. It has a gasket. Well, this gasket was on this because the gasket that is already in there is pressed on and I didn't want to take it off. So anyways, there's a roll pin right there. You guys can see it right there. There's a roll pin. So you need to take that roll pin out. I used a nail, something small, just to push it, pop it out. But so you're gonna take that roll pin out, and as soon as you do that, so it's gonna look like that. If it has the gasket on it and it looks like this, which I doubt it's gonna do that, then you can go ahead and stick this in there with the gasket, put the roll pin back in. So now this thing is ready. With this, you have to use the OEM clutch hydraulic line, which has the fitting on this, but instead you use this, and this will actually have the fitting, so you can put the fitting on here and then adapt it to whatever master you are using. So excited that that's all installed, and then it has the bleeder right here, which it's crazy to me because I just thought about it right now. This looks like the bleeder that you usually have on your any slave cylinder, and this looks, well, doesn't even look like a bleeder in general. So Chevy really did things differently, but I'm glad that I'm able to piece all of this together in a way that makes sense. I'm also going to keep this for warranty purposes on the slave, because if anything, I have to pop this thing off, put this thing back in so it looks like it didn't touch it. So the reason why I actually went with Autosports Engineering is because all of this right here is run you about half the cost of any other adapter kit out there. I know there's plenty of options to choose from, but this to me, on a budget drift build, the point of this conversion for me was to show you guys how you guys can easily swap a C009 into a SC chassis, because for me this seems like the kit that everyone goes with, unless you can get a CD Pro from 009 or get a Fish Racing bell housing. But I wanted to challenge myself because a lot of people make this adapter plate right here. A lot of people don't really make it aesthetically pleasing on the C009 to the JZ engine, but my goal is to make it look like there's no adapter. So I do have to do a couple of things as far as how it's going to be placed onto the bell housing, and how I'm going to cut the bell housing so it looks as OEM as possible, because that's like my main goal, is to look like there's no adapter kit on it at all, and make it look flush like all of the other bell housing kits out there. But this kit to me is pretty much the most well built and the most thought out, because I mean, you have your transmission mount right here, you have your flywheel right here, you have your shifter relocation right here, you have all of the ARP bolts that you need to put it all together. You have your rebo, which is going to be super important for the drive shaft, and then you have all your bolts, and these are really well made bolts. These are actually Allen key bolts, so it's very well thought out to me, and that's what I love about this kit. I really want to give you guys my reaction, because for me, being able to show people how, not easy, but if you have everything you need, it's doable. Everything looks super nice. Everything feels really light with the billet that they use. You basically have everything you need other than hydraulic lines, a clutch, and a drive shaft to be able to do a manual swap in your car. Obviously you need the transmission as well, but that's kind of a given. So I'm really excited for this to kind of come to be, and I'm excited for you guys to watch this. So if you guys haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel if you like what you're seeing. If you want to follow the drift build, like this video as well, and leave a comment down below if you would want to go with Autosport Engineering, any questions you might have about Autosport Engineering, because I'll try to answer them after I get all of this in. I will try to answer everything as best my ability. And what this is a lot of different parts coming together to come into one package. For me, I found it cheaper to actually get things piece by piece and not get a whole package, because the whole package, yes, it probably would have been, well, it's going to be more expensive because of the conveniency, but I wanted to see if I could do this swap as cheap as possible, and I feel like I'm getting close to that, if not hitting it, for getting all the components together for the price of, say, the CD9 or the CD Pro kit. And I'm not saying anything negative about those kits. I actually wanted one of those kits, but this to me seems like the kit that a lot of you guys are going to be running. So I wanted to do a kind of a step-by-step on how to install it for you guys, and also kind of show you guys exactly what each component kind of does, so that you can do it at home as well. So I'm gonna stop talking story. Thank you guys so much for watching, and always remember, guys, always be positive and stay true to who you are. Shoots.